really would like to see us adjourn by 6:30. And we have a lot to discuss. We've got some really, really exciting activities developing, so. Does this thing begin? Are you telling me when?
Yeah, because she said that.
Do I tell you when?
It's already started.
It's already started, so we can call I'd like to call the meeting to order at 5:39? 5:39, okay? And if we would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And roll call. Roll call. Carol Alexander is absent. Amber Davis is present. Dolores Boswell present. Sylvia Bruni present. Miriam Castillo absent. Lisette Cuella here. Rosa Maria Villano absent. Diana Espinosa here. Esther Pirova absent. Maria Bel Garcia absent. Olga Gentry absent. Elia Guevara.
Present.
Sylvia Palumbo.
Present. Y'all want to spread out a little bit more, because I know the chairs are a
We're all
little
very
bit
cozy
crowded.
up here.
Okay.
If you would take a few minutes to review the minutes, and when you're ready, if they stand correct, if one of you will motion for approval, we'll take it.
May I make a correction on the thing that I had mentioned to Amber
On the thing,
on the minutes?
on the minutes?
Basically, it was not for this last minutes, right?
No, it's a minute before.
Okay. And it was for Olga Gentry. She was marked absent. And honestly, she wasn't effectively a member yet because she hadn't taken her oath. So on the 14th was her first meeting back.
So,
So I corrected the
okay,
minutes.
we've corrected the
Right.
correction, okay. Whenever you're ready and have reviewed the minutes.
I have reviewed them and I want to make a motion to approve this.
I'll second. Seconded, Diana? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, they pass. Public comments? No public comments? Okay, no public comments. Okay, I kind of jumped ahead. Let's take a look at committee chair reports. And ladies, one of the things that I want to make sure before, because I think it's very, very important as we're developing the activities and the events that some of us are in charge of, please, I would like a budget ASAP. If you feel or if you know that your event is going to require some funding, then please begin to prepare an anticipated budget for me so we can begin to put together a complete budget to submit to first of all, I'll submit it to Mr. Valdez so we can talk about it, and then I'm assuming that after that we would submit it to the council. Okay. Very important. I know that in large part, I know for example, the SET's activity is probably going to be almost fully funded, but still something might come up, and if it does, Sylvia already has a possibility of an expense coming up in her. So as soon as you have a pretty good, solid feel for your event, for your
Multiple times, because if that's the case, I mean, we need to look at this nomination event. Right now, I think it's already approved. Because that's the main one that we actually have.
So we already have monies for this
Well, they
year.
used to give us 10,000 and then they went down to 7,500.
No, it rolled over.
Well, let me just
And
clarify.
now it's gonna be done,
Let me just
again.
clarify the information I got when I asked, because I made it a point to ask as soon as I was appointed. I had wanted also the bylaws to have been a little more explicit about funding, and I was basically told not to worry, that as we needed funding, reasonably funded projects, that they would be provided. So it's not, right now, from what I understand, there's an amount that was allocated for the Hall of Fame, but there might be other monies that are
For
going to
the
be
other
needed.
action
And
plans
so,
that we have.
as soon as you have a feel for it, please let me know, okay? All right, let's look at Get Out the Vote, Sylvia, and brief them on. Hey, Eliana.
Well, this Get Out the Vote is going to be a year-long campaign.
Ella, si lo quieres
Working
poner aquí en la
towards
mesa mejor, así no para que lo
the month of course, we already started October, November, December, and all the way to registration, education, and Get Out the Vote campaign. There are two parts, voter registration and then in education, and then the Get Out the Vote campaign. I'm trying to get at least some volunteers from here, ¿verdad? If you can make a commitment, we're going to be working on this for about a year. We are identifying 30 of the biggest employers. The idea here is to make a packet for each employer so that they can go back. For example, if you are, let's say, Laredo Medical Center, or we identify the largest ones, okay? Then what we do, make a little packet, like,
I'm going to pass this around. Let me.
Go ahead and
I'm just
explain
going
to
to
them.
compliment what Sylvia is sharing with you. Last year, a small group of us, very informally, there was no organization that sponsored us. Very informally, a small group of us formed a very strict, nonpartisan coalition, a little group of us. And basically, the plan was to get out the vote. And we did bring in media. Several of the commission members were part of it. Esther Pirova, Rosa Maria Gallano, Sylvia, and I, Ana Laura Cavazos, Marta Villarreal, Judy Gutierrez. Very informal, but the goal was get out the vote. And what we did was we planned for a coalition. We also very closely with the school districts, with the college, with the university. And we launched the effort at a luncheon that at that time was sponsored by Falcon National Bank. By the time we brought the 30 employee groups together, and that included the universities, the hospitals, and so on,
Coalition.
we had a packet of information. The idea was, as they were approached, and this is where you're going to be very important, as they were approached, we basically asked them one main question. Would you be willing to work with us in a nonpartisan effort to educate your employees, your members, encourage them to get out and vote, to register and vote? So by the time they said yes, by the time they came to the luncheon, that packet was ready for them. So that's the basis for what we're proposing, except that this time the sponsorship, it's going to be the Commission for Women. And my sense of it, ladies, is that, for one, we're celebrating the 100th anniversary of women being given the right to vote. In August 2020, the 19th Amendment formally was passed. So that's one huge, huge milestone.
It'll be August 2020. We should definitely do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
There were other events that happened before then, you said, but the final, they needed so many states to have come in, and it was August 26th, I believe, of 2020, when the 19th Amendment was formally approved in Congress. And so that's going to be a big, huge milestone, and this is a perfect fit. And then, of course, we're devoted to women's issues, and who better than to us supporting the voice of women. So, and this is why when Sylvia talks about this being year-long and hopefully engaging every single one of us. That's the hope. Okay? All right.
Okay. And what I wanted to do is ask anybody here, a volunteer for this particular steering committee. I want you to know that whoever wants to belong, and I know we can't have, a quorum, tampoco, ¿verdad?
We're going to have to keep it to what, 9? Can't be more.
Yeah.
The
chairs of both
chairs of
parties.
both. So the steering committee will grow, but the main group there is gonna be us, okay?
So then, well, and we are planning on having a kickoff luncheon in January. And we have gotten the IBC to sponsor it, the one there in Jackman. And it will be a luncheon, and I, a long time ago, was doing the voter registration, helping out the Southwest Voter Registration Education Project and Nonpartisan. Committee and how to get the people together, you know, and the coalition, to build a coalition. And we have kind of modeled it after them. So we were thinking of getting Lidia Camarillo, who's head of the Southwest Voter in San Antonio, and she does training also, and I'm hoping that she could come and train us so that she can talk about this project, and it would help us out to understand more of what we're doing. And so I did call her today. I did get word to her. I wasn't able to talk to her, but I did get word to her through the secretary. They're going to call me back. And if she does say yes, then I would like to see this committee, can get together so that she can come and explain to us, you know, what it is, its importance, and how we do this training. That we need a little training for all of us so that you all would know.
We have to be the other thing we have to be very careful about, girls, is that this is nonpartisan. So whatever our personal political affiliations or inclinations or beliefs, you leave those at the door. The whole idea here, the one objective is to educate, to register eligible voters and to get them to the vote, with whatever party they belong to. And this is, Dolores had this idea yesterday. I thought it was a great one, that we can get the Southwest voter education group to come. They're very powerful, they're very reputable, and if they could train us, that way we're all walking out with the same talking points, and so if that were to happen and she's able to get one of them to come in, we will need to talk later about whether we do it for all of us or whether we do it for the steering committee. That's something that we can talk about later, but be thinking about it, because it's a big, important.
It's a big project, and the 30 employers that we identified, we have a list of them, and I thought maybe we could go through a list, and I don't know if we could do it today or not, but like, let's say, I say who wants to take care of LISD, and to talk to them and to go over there and take them their packet or visit with them about it, because by the time they come in January, we're gonna give them that packet. The idea here is that we give them the packet with registration cards, with information, with places where they go vote, everything in there, because there's a lot of information in that packet. And what the idea here is we cannot go with everybody to register. So what we want them to do, it, for example, is the school district goes, talks to their teachers, their employees, and tell them, look, this is what we want you all to do. See that every student is registered, see that everybody goes to the polls when the mobile units are here, and these are the sample ballots, everything that they need is there. And they should be in charge of that, and then when the mobile unit comes to Martin High School, then they have somebody call everybody to the gym or tell them, look, let your students out, let them go vote. And I think this is the best way, this is something that we're trying to implement. We've done it like this before, but not to this extent. Well, with that, yes, we did it. But that little.
What I'm sharing with you right now, ladies, is the breakdown of the 30+ groups that we had worked with last year, and how we divvied them up amongst the folks that were working on the committee. That was last year's. So you might want to take a look at it, and we could be missing opportunities here, but that just happened to be last year's. Incidentally, Miriam Castillo has already volunteered to work with the freight forwarder, custom broker, transportation groups. And if any of you, I know for example, Elia, that you've got a real you know, you're very involved with that group. It might be that the two of you would want to volunteer to
Yeah,
work
I
with that
will,
group.
I will, we have to also be strong associations.
Because it's
and
very
we
important
can-
that whoever you
Yeah.
approach is someone that you already
That you
have some
know.
kind of a relationship with. I mean,
Yeah.
you two are very, very well connected with that.
Yeah, I
those
committed
groups,
with
so.
the ALFA, which is
¿Verdad?
the
Yes.
Association of Forwarding, and the American Custom
Right.
Brokers Association too. I can do
So,
both.
So you
Yes.
two, you and Medium,
Yes.
maybe we can sign you up to help with
Yeah,
with
that
those
would be
groups.
great.
Sure.
That way they can.
But that's
come to-
last year, remember, that's not set in stone. It just happened to be the ones that came and were involved in last year's effort, okay? And that folder that you're looking at right now, Elia, I don't know if you were here when, that was the folder we
Yeah,
turned
this
over
one.
to them when we met with them at lunch that day. Okay?
And if Lydia Camarillo comes, then that would be great, because she can come and train us, and this is the model that we used when she trained me. That was in the 1982. I was doing this since then, I'm still doing it, but that was at that time, and it does work. And one of the things they told us, if you approach people, when you do get them registered, the idea is to keep their data. You can make copies, because that's against the law, but you can write it down, their name or whatever. And then you touch base with them at least 3 times, and they say that at least 75% of them will go out and vote. Remember, these are first voters and they don't know anything about the ballot. We're gonna try to also see if we can have some information. I talked to libraries and they told me that I could use their library, like let's say people, they don't know where to vote, they don't know what the issues are, they don't know about candidates, they don't know about the sample ballot, they don't know what a Republican or Democrat is. And I was trying to see if we could get some place where we can announce to them that if they need any information on that we might be available for them. And I had talked to Maria from the library, and she said you can always use the library. We're trying to think out of the box. If any of you have any good ideas about it and say, you know what, I think this would work, we can go for that too.
Which is why that steering committee is going to be important.
Yes, that's why
We
it's so
can't resolve it
important. So-
today, but once we really enjoyed ourselves. I want to tell you something. That's something else that happens when you get together with folks that are committed, and we actually had a lot of fun with it. But that's where the plans begin to unfold. So if you're interested and able to help Sylvia as part of the steering committee, please let her know. Okay? Can we move on now to Hall of Fame?
Yes, of course,
Okay.
definitely.
Let's talk Hall of Fame. And I know that we got you.
Appointed.
We got you, well, because I think you have been involved with
the criteria,
with the
well, not only
criteria.
me, but several of the members, yeah.
And here again, we're looking at committees. It's not gonna be Diana who's gonna carry this one by herself.
I think if you look at the minutes that you all just approved, I
Yes.
think everything is listed there. And the applications, right, available to everybody on November 6th, and then we start, I suppose after January the 3rd or 4th, January 3rd, then I guess we will be forming a committee, and you all have delineated the selection committee.
Yeah, it's on here.
And the venue planning committee, and so I think that, I don't know.
And I'm gonna give you 2 handouts right here, and that is the selection scoring sheet that was approved by the council. I just made it pretty and put our logo on it. And hopefully it makes some sense now. And it doesn't look as jumbled as when the attorneys presented it to you all. And behind it is the 2020 application.
Okay, and let me mention something to ladies. First of all, it's a little update, Sulema, on how many.
Oh, yes.
You know, right as soon as the bylaws were approved by the council, we waited for that meeting to happen. As soon, the letters were already written and signed. The following day, Sulema sent out a letter to each of the individuals who had nominated candidates for 2019. They went out immediately, and they were encouraged to consider keeping their nominee for 2020. Since then, Sulema has received notices from 5. You want to let them know who
Yes,
they are?
Cristina Ortilia Mendoza, nominated by Roxanne Peña in Arts and Media Communications, Leadership, Business Professional, wants to be considered in the running still. Rosalinda Ramirez, in the area of Business Professional, nominated by Anselmo Castro. They want to continue in the process. Olivia Varela, business professional, nominated by Tony Arce Jr., wants to continue in the process.
That was in which category?
Business professional.
So there's
Now,
two.
mind you, that these were the categories that they had indicated last year, okay? The letter stipulated that if they had any additional information or wanted to consider a new category, that they needed to inform the city secretary by no later than January the 3rd of 2020, okay? Ana Cristina Martinez in the area of education, nominated by Beatriz Garza de Caldera. And Tony Gamboa in social services, nominated by Manuel Cerda. Those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 have basically responded and demonstrated an interest to continue on.
Sandra?
So I have a couple of comments. One is I got a call from Martha Kaiser regarding the information, and one of her questions was, do I need to resubmit the application again?
Okay, was Martha Kaiser one of the ones that nominated?
No, she was one of the
Nominee.
people that was nominated.
Okay, then we did not contact the
No.
nominees.
Whoever nominated her contacted her.
That was Janie Martinez.
Yes.
So
that-
Janie needs to contact us, not the nominee.
Well, okay, so she, that's a question right now.
The letter that was sent to them,
And I'll have a copy of the letter
you
here.
have the letter, if I remember, I think I have them here too also. I might
Can we
have
get a
them in
copy of
another.
that one?
But
Is that your question?
if I remember,
I will let you all see the letter. I don't want them to be circulated. I mean,
Well, because if they reach out to us, which they've done,
the letter very specifically
Yes.
stipulates who they need to
and
contact.
I understand that, but they sometimes will reach out to us with questions, so I
Okay,
wanna be
what
able to.
Sandra,
Okay,
this is what
this
I'm
one's
doing.
better.
I've had one reach out to me, and I basically told the nominator, it wasn't the nominee, I told the lady who had nominated the candidate, I told her that the letter was very explicit, that if they wanted to continue to be considered, they were to notify the office of the city secretary. And if I remember correctly, the letter also says that if they'd like to expand on the nomination, they may. But it
Yeah.
doesn't tell them that they have to. So in other words, they can keep the nomination as it was, or
Here's
they
a
may
copy
add
that you
to it.
can look, but I do need
But
that.
it's very important that you don't, I don't want to be responsible for accepting an acceptance.
Oh, no, no, no,
I
not
want
at
them
all.
to notify the city secretary's
But
office.
just if they have any questions, so I don't know if anybody else wants to see this.
Well, that was basically it. They were encouraged to.
So that's all the answer.
My
Thank you.
response was, and they didn't ask if they needed to expand it, but my response to the lady was that, a reminder that the letter was very explicit. They're supposed to let the city secretary's office know.
So there were a couple of things. So the other thing was that, in the past, we didn't tell them that we were limiting how many people, or, actually, we're not limiting how many we select per category, just that we're selecting 10. So the category, I guess you can select 2 or 3 per category.
If I remember correctly, there's nothing in the nomination form that says you have to have only one. That had been my question to Sulema, because one of the candidates, one of the nominees is nominated in several categories. That's the way her nomination came in, several categories. And so,
Do they do a separate one for each
no, they
category?
didn't, just one.
You have
To say this is for education, this
You
is for
have to.
art, and this is for,
They
for
didn't.
example. So they
No,
put what they,
You have the nomination form right in front of you.
okay.
So
You have
please
to have-
review it, and basically, it's gonna be up to the screening committee. That's why I have the rubric, I gave you the rubric and the nomination form, so you can look at it next to each other. And it is gonna be, Diana, up to your screening committee, up to the directions that you give them. When you look at a nominee and you look at their packet,
there.
you need to determine which category they best fit in. Or where do you have a void? If you have too many in education, but you don't have any in social service, and this person says they wanted education and social service, maybe they could be considered for social service. But it is going to be up, and again, fair is fair. It is gonna have to be up to the selection committee. And I think that all those things need to be determined before you even start the process of reviewing the applications. Because it is gonna be tainted if you start making decisions once you have the applications in front of you.
Well, I'll
Okay.
tell you something, Sulema, in reference to that, with making decisions before we even start, and looking at the criteria form, it says low 1, high is 10. So we're able to, each one of us rate each applicant by ourselves and come up with our score. But at one point, we've got to make a decision, what's the highest will, or the lowest will accept, or we're gonna go down to 0.
And
You know,
that's
that's
gonna
what
be
I
up
was
to
getting
you.
at on the other one.
Well, can I suggest something? Can I say, this is what I'd recommend, that the selection committee come together and come together precisely to discuss whatever elements you think, issues you think need to be resolved and are answered. If you have a question or if you have a concern, it's not used, I'd recommend that we have a meeting just dedicated to that by the selection committee.
And now you're talking about just having the selection committee members
Yes,
present?
yes, and then we
the
bring,
decision.
and then once you, if there are decisions that you make regarding particular, like Sulema is suggesting, we need to have decided before we start looking at.
For the ones who did not respond. For the ones that did not respond.
Sulema had recommended that she was recommending that we do the follow-up, but you know what I think?
No, I was gonna do the follow-up, but with your approval.
Okay.
What I asked Ms. Bruni today was
But
to
they
bring
weren't
you.
sent out certified or anything
No,
like that.
what I told Ms. Bruni is that I would give you an update of what we have done so far, and that if the commission members, if you as a committee wanted me to call those that have not responded, again, I am not gonna contact the nominee. I'm going to contact the person that nominated them, okay?
I have a question.
Okay.
If we, once we meet as a selection committee to look at the process using this form, and we look at the total scores and whatever decisions we make, are we able to add instructions?
The rubric was adopted by council,
Right.
and it cannot, from my understanding, it cannot be changed and or modified.
Okay, could we add an addendum to this page, so when Diana's rating her.
You mean a
candidate-
disclaimer, kinda, an explanation?
There's
No,
notes at the bottom.
Instructions, because in the one we developed at the beginning, my committee that started working on it, and then it got kind of.
I wouldn't put it on the form itself.
We have a page for that.
I would say committee rules, as you're scoring the rubrics, keep this in mind
Right.
and give them instructions there.
Verbally only?
No, you can put it in writing, but not on the
You know
form.
what I suggest, this is what I suggest, that committee meets, you come to whatever decisions, recommendations you want to make, including instructions to the selection committee, and then at our next meeting in December, that we be ready to discuss it. That's,
Okay.
Can I make a motion that the city secretary's office make a second contact to those people that had nominated somebody to see if they're still interested?
For the
I
one.
second
Sandra,
that.
Those out.
Because there was no Rubik's Cube, or people were going by how much was submitted per applicant, how much documentation was submitted to, as support. Okay, so, on the application itself, it says, what significant accomplishments, blah, blah, blah. And it says maximum 1/2 typewritten page. So just for us to keep that in mind, because there are two, I think 5 and 6 just says that the maximum, like they can't submit more than half a page.
Okay,
They
well,
can't submit a book.
Okay, that ought to be readily apparent to the selection committee.
And if I may add, so that, I know that, I'm being in the committee with the district when they're selecting principals or assistant principals. And you have a committee, and we go through the interview process, and, we're scoring. And it's amazing, I've been at my campus, and then, of course, at the district level. And it is amazing that on the points, all of us in the committee come up with the same amount. I mean, there were 10 people, then whoever we voted on, and everybody was doing their own total scores or whatever. Whoever had number 10, we all had number 10. Whoever had number 5, we all had number. I mean, it is amazing how once you start scoring them, unless somebody.
Just one quick, I guess for the scoring committee, because I'm not in the committee, somebody mentioned about being nominated, more than one category. It does specifically say on the application, one category. So if they put their 3, 4, 5, 6, they are ineligible. I mean, it tells you right there. One category upon up, and it says, must be designated or the nominee will be disqualified.
Okay, does
It
that
says on the application.
Does that mean that the nominator needed to have designated, or does it mean that the selection committee needs to designate?
No, the person filling out the application, it says right
But
there.
it doesn't say only one category.
Yes, it does at the top. Nominee, it says, each
Category
candidate may be
nominated.
But
nominated
you
for
know what,
one
we're kind of
category.
because let's say they put several, and we need, and those several, one of them, we don't have any candidates, but the other one we do, we could conceivably move that candidate to this category
Yes,
that
that's
doesn't
allowed.
have any.
That is
Because we can't be asking for nominations after January, it's gonna be too late. So it might be to our advantage to let them put 2 or 3. They're not gonna get the 2 or 3, they're gonna get 1, and we'll put them wherever we need a candidate in case there's a
They're
void.
not qualified on the other one.
No, they have to be qualified,
That's
yeah.
And that's
Can't
why,
just put
right.
them there because.
No, right, they would have to qualify,
that's why I
absolutely.
would suggest that right now we leave it up to the discretion of the
Yeah.
committee to designate them in one.
But it's a good
Okay.
point to keep in mind.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right, Lisa. I'm sorry.
No, if they can move mine, since I have to go.
She needs to
that's
leave.
all.
I
Just in
just,
case.
So do I.
there's just one more issue that I want to make sure. We want to do a lot of outreach, ladies. All right, we've already got the flyer on all the city of Laredo social venues. What we're going to pass around an outreach log. And what I'd like you to do, each and every one of us, I want you to tell me what can you do individually to publicize the nomination process, the event itself, whether it be on your Facebook page or any other social venue, whether it be with your individual clubs. I've got Rotary, I can take it to. How many of you would be willing to come along with me as I approach media for interviews and PSAs? Okay, I'm gonna pass it around. I'm gonna pass it over.
Let me look at it since I'm leaving.
Okay.
You know what, I'm sorry,
And
girl, but I'm gonna.
And Lisette also. So please, individually, Facebook, all of us have, I think just about all of us have social venues, okay?
So do we put, what we're gonna nominate? If I'm gonna do Facebook, I put Facebook.
Facebook, if you want to do TV interviews, if you want to do city
Spanish,
clubs,
porque
everything and anything
español
that you can help us
necesitamos
with.
a alguien que lo haga
Sulema
español.
has the flyer, all of you should have already received it. It's a
I
great
gave you a hard
flyer.
copy of it too, it's in your
More
handout.
copies?
Here.
It's in your handout.
Alex,
Madam Chair, just to let you know, since she's leaving and I'll be leaving, do you want to discuss anything that needs a vote?
yes, wow.
Because that we can fill out late, as we're leaving.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's
Anything?
anything more that we needed to vote on when it came
I don't know,
to
we
the Hall
have
of
an
Fame.
action.
Was there anything else? I know we've already had some motions that were approved. Is there anything else having to do with any issue right now? Venue, I'll update you on it. Reception, Sandra will update us on it. Business etiquette, shall we take it over to Lisette?
It's gonna be on Tuesday, January the 14th, 2020. It's gonna be from 1 to 3. I wanted to make sure that it was after lunch so that we can save money, and that it's before the end of school, which is 3 o'clock.
January, what was it, Lisette?
January
14th?
14th?
Yes.
Tuesday.
And it's gonna be at?
It's gonna be at the outlet shops,
I know, but I'm sorry, time?
1 to 3 p.m.
I gave you the email.
1 to 3.
And this is a Saturday or what is it?
No, Tuesday.
And this is the
It was for the business etiquette.
business etiquette part, it's right there on the agenda, business etiquette.
January 14th, right?
January
Yeah,
14th,
Tuesday.
January 3, outlets. At the outlets.
Yeah, no, yeah.
No, este nomás es para Amber y para Silvia.
Ah, yo creo que se le está
No,
pasando.
no, that's just for them.
Ah,
That's why it's highlighted.
Did I
for
get
them.
Yeah, I did, I saw
Yeah,
it,
she
pero
gave
dijo
you
que
one.
estaban pasando.
No, it's an email that,
Yes, that one.
Ah, okay.
That I sent.
It was just her report for the commission.
Oh, okay.
because she had told us that she was gonna be gone. so-
Yeah,
Okay.
I might leave early, so I was like, I wanted to make sure to give the report. I have contacted, since it's from 1 to 3, like I said, I wanted to make sure it was after lunch, and it was before school was over, so in case moms need to pick up their children, they'd have the time. And because it's a 2-hour span, I was thinking of 5 presenters. I've contacted the Texas Workforce Commission so that they can speak about the resources available in our area for employment, whether it be them through Laredo College, or them through the career fairs, or them with TAMU. I asked Amber also for Mile 1 for branding and entrepreneurship, so that women know how to brand themselves, because sometimes I feel that we have so much to offer, but we don't know how to sell ourselves, and not in a bad way. I mean, like, how to present ourselves in such a way that people want to hire us or promote us. The other one, Amber had told me it was for Medline, for human resource, like having one of their directors come and speak to ladies from their perspective, what they're looking for when they have an applicant, when they're looking at the resume, before they even interview the person, what is it that they're looking for that stands out to them to hire someone. Also for the Small Business Development Center, I want them to talk to women about empowering their skills, either through workshops that they offer. Because I feel that there's a lot of stuff available in the city, but women don't know where they're at, and some of them don't even have a fee. So kind of letting them know, and also having them explain success stories of women that are in Laredo that have businesses and are doing well. Because we don't really hear about it much. So I think it's important. And the last one was the Laredo Chamber of Commerce, so that women know that there is an organization where they can go and network, and that even through them, they have trainings as well about human resources, about businesses, about fraud, different things like that. And in between it, I reached out, hopefully making it like a little commercial section where like you do one presenter, and while they're transitioning, having like, for example, Banana Republic comes out and says, okay, this is like a professional wear, this is the cost, this is the blazer, this is the skirt, or then having like Ann Taylor at the next commercial, kind of making it seem like we're live, like on TV, but we're not, just making it fun. And giving them examples of what professional attire is. You'd be surprised. Some
Yes.
people like,
They've gone, the skirts have gone very, very low.
Yeah.
Very high, short, so we need more professional.
Or spandex.
Or spandex to
Yeah.
work.
No.
So we need professional outlooks.
They were requesting to me how many tables, so I know we have 5 presenters, so we have, I was gonna say 5 tables. And then our 6th one, 'cause I think it's important that we are doing the drive for voters, for us to have a table there in case women want to register to vote.
Did they give you a room? Did you decide on a room already?
No, not yet.
You haven't, have you been there yet?
No.
Okay, but they're gonna offer you a very, very, very big room, or they're gonna offer you there's another room that's, I think she said, sat between 50 and 70 people. Anyway, it's your choice.
Yes, I'll go and check it out. So they were asking me about the tables and the chairs, and then, like I said, the voter registration table, and they are gonna have a projector provided for us. I think they had said waters, right, also?
Waters, and they're gonna skip there's a donut, what's the name of the? And Cinnabon.
Cinnabon,
Cinnabon,
yes.
I think there's gonna be Cinnabon and water, and possibly coffee. You all can, But if it doesn't include coffee, then again, if you have any need for any kind of a budget,
Yes,
you
I'll
need
let
to
you
work
know.
that in.
Yeah, I'm trying to go as much without us
Yes,
spending, so that when we ask for stuff, they can see that we are trying our best to have events where we're not. That way, when we do ask for money, they'll be like, okay, we saw that they are saving, so yay.
Good job.
That's good.
So we're.
That's me and Amber.
Yes.
How about you say we're reading it?
Alice, did you have something?
No.
Nothing, okay, then let's talk, we skipped Sandra only because I
Oh,
wanted to
that's
get
fine.
to.
Well, sorry,
because
I got
the
no
media,
worry.
Because I do go to mass with my
the
parents.
media reception that will announce,
Yes.
we don't have a date for that yet. That will be
No,
something
but
we need to discuss.
I don't know if I heard it or I saw it somewhere where you mentioned the media reception in March, but I think the media reception is in February,
Yeah,
correct?
your media reception
So you have
is
to be
not
in
the right
March.
word.
In your handouts, there is a calendar.
The event will be March.
In March.
March.
In your handouts, there is a calendars. I did the calendars that you wanted me to do.
But the media reception is in February,
Yes,
so
they-
just a comment, Sylvia, I was reaching out to Gabriel because it's always been held at IBC, and he mentioned to me that he had spoken to you about an event at IBC January the 7th.
Well, because we have the kickoff for the, go get out the vote there.
Yeah.
So what he commented to me was they can either do one or the other. They won't be able to do both because they're trying to
Now, you're talking about
spread
the
out.
media reception?
Yes.
Well, we're just gonna have to go somewhere else for the media reception. So this is gonna be a
Okay,
hefty
this is the
luncheon that
bigger
they're hosting,
event.
major luncheon. Bye-bye.
Maybe
This is a major
For
event
what, Facebook?
where we're.
Well, let's get some other place for the
Get
media
another place
reception.
for-
So I have a comment. In the past, at the media reception, they've had a guest speaker, and then they just kind of present who was selected. Do we want to continue with that format and have a guest speaker? The reason why I ask is because I haven't been here for a very long time, so I went to the first media reception, and for me, it looked like it was
It
the
was
same
event.
as the event,
Well,
and it seemed like it was just doubling up. And I think the media reception, normally when we've had other events and we have a media reception, it's a little bit, shorter and trimmer, and you have, yes ma'am.
What about if you schedule it early enough as an option and it's easy, no cost, media reception in council chambers? With a little reception.
That was something we suggested last year, was to just announce, we had been selected at the council and present them there, and
But
then.
would it happen on the day that they approve it? No.
No, it wouldn't
It
be
would
during
be-
the council
It would be
meeting.
a
It would be during the
standalone, it would be
day.
a standalone media
Right.
reception with council members involved, I would hope.
Not necessarily,
No?
it's just using the council chambers for the
Okay,
media
I think that's a
reception.
very good
Yeah,
idea.
like
but
when they
let's-
do proclamations.
Right,
Let's do that.
yeah, the council
Okay.
members.
That's fine, and we can just have some.
have to be there?
Well, I don't know, do the ladies,
Oh,
are
the ones
are the
that-
honorees there?
I know,
Yeah, it's-
I mean.
Normally, they're invited.
They're invited.
No,
Yeah,
no, well, we do
so-
invite them for the reception.
Yes.
So that they'll
It's a
know
very
that
nice-
they're
Is there
for the
gonna be
meeting.
But it's not,
food? No.
No.
No van a tener, it's gonna be.
it's a media reception, cookies and
I'd rather see
punch.
some of like another bank might, just a little reception for them by themselves with the media.
Frankly, I like the idea of because we're already gonna plan a full-fledged, elegant reception for them.
Mhm.
So 2 receptions, media
Just to introduce
announcements.
the people.
Media announcements are usually just media announcements.
The press release that
The
gives
press
detail on the
release. I like the
information and the big
idea of it being
events.
held in council chambers. We invite the ladies to come, but it's low-key because the main event is gonna be the main
Well,
event.
we,
I think
the
you-
ones that
you take
remember
from it.
being here for a long time, as Diana has, not that because we always have to do it the same way, but it's always been that the bank has to sponsor. It's a very nice event because they bring their family members and they sit down together. Vienen familias, vienen sus familias, claro que sí.
Well, IBC's not
The
gonna host
husbands,
it.
the wives, the children, Dolores, you remember.
It's not gonna host
No,
it.
no, and I understand that, but we don't have to have it at the IBC. There might be another bank that might lend itself.
people to vote.
When they left, okay.
Yeah, there's not.
Well, I'm just suggesting that, I'm just saying because I know that we've had them before and they've been great, they've been beautiful. I mean, it's a special occasion because they've been already nominated. The media comes out and they interview everybody and
They take a group picture.
They take a group picture, the parents or the family members come y se sientan con ellos. And the bank does provide, and I know they're doing their big one, you know, but this time, pues, no están haciendo esto because this is the first time we do this.
We could do the same thing, we could still invite the families to come to the city council.
I just think,
Yeah.
personally, from other events, even, you know, when they announce George and Martha Washington, you know, who they're gonna be, it's a small gathering and it's mainly for the media to get the word out.
And they come out and the families.
But I think this
When
takes
they-
away from the actual event.
Because when they announce the Abrazo children, they have it in La Posada, the San Agustin, they make a big issue and family members go. Because
You have to
they're being
understand that
announced.
there's a bigger budget, okay? We have limitations, and here the key word is media announcement. I think that, I mean, yes, in the past, it was an ever-expanding budget. Council has made it very
Didn't take any
clear.
money, Suleiman, because no estaba en el banco, we can get somebody to sponsor
Okay.
it. But equating it to the other events, the Martha's and the Abrazo children and all that, it's a media event, yes, but what that media event is, it's a reception. And they give them, there's a little coffee or whatever, comidita. But like I said, because of these other ones that we're having, then I agree that we're not gonna use the bank there. I don't know if we all wanna, if y'all want it like that, that's fine, but I thought it's such a special time for them to be announced, you know, and it's, I know Diana and I know Dolores.
I don't know if I can have take advantage of chairmanship's prerogative. I would recommend that you just go with a typical traditional media announcement in chambers. We can still invite the parents. I mean, if you'd like, we can always set up coffee and on the side, we've seen that, we've seen pan dulce and, but I think let's reserve.
And I think I'm in
Just go ahead
favor
and-
of that, you know, I mean, whatever everybody wants, but I know we can't vote because we don't have a quorum. But yes, it would be nice to invite the family members, the families come and have a little reception for them, but it is a media reception. So coffee or pan dulce.
It'll
It
be
has to
February.
be
May we move on now so that we can,
Yes.
I think we have maybe one more. There's a couple of other things that I wanted to also talk to you about. We only had one of these.
I passed them out to everyone.
Yeah, she already
One
passed
of
them
the
out.
things that I thought would be really, really good to have, ladies, would be to be able to keep track of the activity and the participation of the members. And so I asked Amber, and she said she could come up with a little spreadsheet. And so that we can acknowledge our own involvement. And so, and this would, I don't know if later, Amber, we might want to see if we can designate between events and maybe like committee meetings, because there's a difference between when you go out and you help Sylvia with the registration, that's an event, versus when they get together at my house for coffee to plan, well, that's just a little planning session, but it's still important. Maybe we can differentiate between color code or do something with,
Okay.
so that we can begin to keep track of the way of the involvement of our members. I thought that was something that would be good to have. Sandra?
I had a suggestion, well, I had asked in the past, and this is, because like, I don't even remember, on me personally, our attendance, if there's a way we can have something similar to this, that lists all the meetings, and then we can see what our attendance is like.
I used to see that with other, is that something that we can do?
I have it, okay, but I have it in like, I can print an updated one for next month meeting, okay?
Maybe 6
Ah.
months maybe, or every 3 months.
Well, I mean, next month is gonna be the last one.
De veras, sí, bueno, for the whole year.
I mean-
Because like, see, when I was with the CBB, they would give it to us every month. And we would see where we were, who was
Can we
coming.
do
and-
something? You work up something and then?
Can I email it to you all instead of hand
Oh, yeah,
printed
that'd be great.
and just give it to Sylvia?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't need one, don't worry.
Okay.
If you were missing on one, just let me know so I can update it.
I'll email it to you all fresh.
For
in the
that one,
morning.
I was trying to go through pictures and stuff and.
Because I went, well, I mean,
Yeah, I
I've been to
remember it,
two.
I just couldn't remember all of the,
All right, let's give Amber some time to, I don't know if there's an update yet on International Women's Day.
I do have, an update. Since I didn't wanna take too much away from Women's Hall of Fame, I decided that if the, committee would, or the commission would approve, just to kind of kick off, International Women's Day for the event that I'm having, with like a welcome breakfast, and I wanted to invite some women on the commission to speak on a panel to start the celebration day discussing women in the workforce and how it's changed over the last 50 years. And so, and then after, if anybody wants to leave, they can go work on Hall of Fame, but if you do want to be a part of that, or stay for the rest of the day.
We're at here.
For right now, it's at mile 1, but I had 90 last year, and so, depending on how many I have this year, if it gets any bigger than 90, it'll go to La Posada. And they had already said that they would sponsor. So I'm gonna do.
Sponsor it.
Yes, they would help sponsor. So the way that I wanted to make it a lot bigger than I did it last year. Instead of just having one panel, I would have multiple panels and workshop sessions. And these are just ideas for right now. I don't have any speakers, but these are kind of topics that I want to work on. If anybody's interested in being a speaker or think there's an issue or topic that I need to add.
What, did we say a date or not yet?
It's gonna be March 7th, it's the day before Hall of Fame, and that's why I don't wanna necessarily take away from Hall of Fame. And so if just if you wanna show up in the morning, yes, it's a Saturday.
It's the 5th, huh?
Hall of Fame is the 8th,
Oh,
a
the
Sunday,
8th, the 8th.
yes.
Yeah, we have extra one. Yeah, ladies, I give you all a set of calendars and you can start writing on. See, that's the thing with the calendars. I'm not gonna run the calendars every month, okay? I gave you the calendars for you to update and write things on.
Thank you. Ah, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Thank
good. Okay.
So,
So this is gonna be on the 7th, right?
Yes, March the 7th.
Yes, you did. It's on the
And I'm
handout.
still in the planning process, but.
I've already added it.
I didn't hang up and I'll just.
Yeah, I
Package
think
it said handout. Oh, it's over
I
missed it.
didn't get that. Now,
What
can
I did miss it.
Can I have one of those?
You don't have it?
No, I didn't get it.
Then I was
That-
So right now, we have November. ¿Qué tenemos en
And I
November?
just started from doing that. And then I eventually
Unless
ran
it's
that
all
here,
the,
each loan office here.
Sulema, so then, this calendar.
Yeah, I'd love to have you on the
Is this the
panel.
whole thing?
I'm gonna have multiple panels,
Yeah, because it's a calendar,
It's a calendar.
after the breakout
Okay.
sessions, and so.
November.
I'm trying to make it like a day event
Very
where
good.
women can like invest in themselves.
Sure, we have an audience. Do you think
And
you'll
then-
mainly get a younger crowd, or do you think you'll get some people that may have retired and wanna go back into the force, or?
Last year I had a big mix of
Yes,
people.
I went last year.
had maybe like 20s to 60s because I got a lot of people from the county. Because I did this event with the county. We did the proclamation at the county courthouse, and then they invited their whole staff to come. So the dynamic might change because we won't have all the county workers, but I'm thinking that this gives women the opportunity that, maybe they're thinking about starting a business, or they have a 8 to 5, and they can come on a Saturday and like invest in themselves.
Or the kids are out and so now they
Yeah,
wanna go back
exactly.
into the
Yeah,
workforce.
exactly. Or start a business or talk
I
about
think it's a really good idea that you have the small business development, because I've had a lot of tenants that everybody wants to dream of starting their own business, but they have no idea what
it
to
takes.
do.
What it takes and.
Yes, even just plain
Just
to.
guidance.
No, and like everybody thinks that you open your business and you're gonna make a lot of money the first month, and you're gonna pay the rent, you're gonna know. They need to have their backup, and they need to have budget,
budget.
in 6 months or a year, and they need to know how to advertise, and they need to know how to do their accounting and pay their taxes and do their form.
Yeah,
They have no
there's
idea.
so
Remember,
much more.
and how do you publicize it?
So yes.
And I was gonna say, piggyback on that, ladies, the Sylvias have realized the strength of our public information office.
Oh, I'm so
Okay?
impressed with us.
It is in the best interest of this commission to use the PRO to promote any and all events, okay? Any and all events. They're not solely for Get Out the Vote. They're not solely for Women's Hall of Fame.
But let me tell you how they can also help. That really colorful, attractive flyer that they created for us for the Hall of Fame, they created it. I picked it up. I put it on my Facebook page. I put it on my,
Where's your
I think the
flyer?
Facebook page. So you pick up, you ask them for help, just give them enough time to turn things around. And then not only will they put it on all their social venue sites, but they'll share it with you, and then you share it with us, and before you know it, it's multiplying and multiplying and
Yes.
multiplying.
And even if you want to do like a proclamation,
Yeah.
okay, kind of what they did with the county,
With the city.
okay, but think backwards. Don't come the week
Last minute.
before and say we need a proclamation, because the answer's gonna be no,
No.
okay?
Yeah, last year I used Eventbrite, and I think it's gonna be helpful this year to register, so I know what the head count is ahead of time. I was expecting maybe 40, 50 last year on my head count, and I ended up having 90 because the county came at the last minute. But with having the workshops, I want women to be able to select which workshops they're gonna be, so I can know what room I can sit them in, and who the speaker is gonna be and what it's gonna look like. So I've already kind of thought about those things, and I need to get into a little bit more detail, but that's kind of my thought process on how this whole event's gonna roll out.
So maybe if you do tickets, like when you do a
Yeah, on
conference.
Eventbrite, yeah,
Yeah.
they would have a ticket,
they
and they
get
sign
tickets,
in,
And then you know how
they
many people are.
And the date is March the 5th?
March 7th, it's
Oh,
a Saturday.
Oh, March, I'm sorry.
March
I'm in
7/20, 2020. Anything else, girls, Elia? Anything from your corner? Sandra, Dolores, Lupita? Anything?
I want to thank Sulema for doing an excellent job as well for.
Yes.
Ladies.
I'm traffic director.
Can I just ask a question?
Ulema.
Does Diana already
Thank
know
you.
who's on her selection committee? Have you already notified?
It's in the note.
It's already in
Yeah,
the
minutes,
minutes?
you just
Okay,
saw it.
it's
It's in the
very
minutes,
good.
right?
It's in the
Okay.
minutes.
And thank you for the.
Aunt Luz and the chocolate and the coffee.
Oh,
Yes.
well, no, are we in announcements or no? We still have more to go?
Where are the announcements?
The media
There's
reception?
nothing in the
The media
announcements.
reception?
But
No, we already discussed that.
did you have something else that you wanted to add, Sandra?
Not on the media reception, it was just a little announcement, but.
Okay, yes. of
Well,
course.
I wanted to thank her, of course, for the conchas, but I wanted to let you know, since I saw the conchas, that we're starting this new event this year at the Frontera Beer and Wine Garden. It's a Concha Fest, and we're celebrating everything Concha. So we saw it in, I know people talk about being original and things like that. There's so many things that happen outside of Laredo that we need to bring to Laredo. And we saw this event in Los Angeles, and we reached out to them to see if we could join their group and do it in Laredo. They didn't even know where Laredo was, and they're like, do it, by all means. So we have already vendors that are gonna be doing Concha jewelry and Concha t-shirts, and we have some of the
When
food
is it
trucks.
gonna happen,
This is
Sandra?
November 23rd, so in a couple of weeks.
In a couple of weeks.
And next year, we'll be adding a fashion show. So for now, it'll be the food and arts and crafts at the Pan
What's
American.
November the 23rd?
It's a Saturday,
Saturday, okay, very good.
so it's the weekend before Thanksgiving. It'll be from from 6 to midnight.
Okay.
So if you can join us, we'd love to have you. And if you have anybody you know that might want to participate, by all means. I think we're gonna limit it to 7 bakeries, but we already have some of the bakeries for the best concha. It's gonna be,
Yeah.
and we'll have hot chocolate, Luna's gonna bring a hot chocolate.
And you're gonna have vendors there
Yes, for jewelry, clothing, we're gonna have some live art, some artists that are gonna be doing some live art also. And something fun, and hopefully it'll continue to grow and maybe take over Soccer Lateral Avenue.
I have some vendors I need to tell you about.
Okay, great.
These are conchas.
qué bonita.
So, todos de concha.
And so where are these from?
Yeah.
¿Cómo se llama? Quickie Bakery.
Yes, okay,
Mhm.
they'll be participating.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ladies, thank you. Well, do we stand adjourned? We stand adjourned.
In favor?
We,
All in favor, we are. Thank you so much. Great
turn off the
meeting.
video.
Great meeting. Has it been helpful to you that we have the WhatsApp?